The story of the Seven Sleepers is one of the most fascinating and mysterious tales found in Islamic tradition, as well as in Christian and other religious histories. It is a story that transcends time, culture, and belief, carrying with it profound lessons about faith, patience, and divine protection. But what exactly happened in that cave? Who were these sleepers? And why does their story continue to captivate millions around the world today? More importantly, what does this ancient tale mean for us in our modern lives, filled with challenges, doubts, and uncertainties? Imagine a time long ago, in a land ruled by tyrants who persecuted those who dared to believe in the one true God. A time when faith was not just a personal choice, but a dangerous act of rebellion. The Seven Sleepers were young men who lived in such a time. They were believers, steadfast in their faith, refusing to renounce their belief despite the threats and punishments they faced. Their story begins in a city called Ephesus, a place known for its grandeur, but also for its intolerance toward monotheism. The rulers of Ephesus demanded that everyone worship their idols, statues representing false gods made by human hands. The Seven Sleepers, however, refused to bow down to these idols. Their refusal was not just an act of defiance, but a declaration of their unwavering faith in Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth. As a result, they were persecuted and forced to flee for their lives. They sought refuge in a cave outside the city, hoping to escape the wrath of the tyrants. What happened next is where the story takes a miraculous turn. The young men fell into a deep sleep, a sleep that would last for centuries. While the world outside changed, empires rose and fell, and generations passed, the sleepers remained in their cave, untouched by time. When they finally awoke, they found themselves in a world completely different from the one they had left behind. Their story became a symbol of hope, faith, and the power of divine intervention. But why did Allah cause them to sleep for so long? What was the purpose behind this extraordinary event? Scholars and believers have pondered these questions for centuries. Some see it as a sign of Allah's mercy and protection for those who remain true to their faith in the face of adversity. Others interpret it as a lesson about the transient nature of this world and the eternal reality of the hereafter. The story reminds us that no matter how difficult our circumstances may be, Allah's help is always near, and patience coupled with faith can lead to salvation. The Quran briefly mentions the story of the Seven Sleepers in Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, highlighting their faith and the miraculous nature of their sleep. The verses emphasize that their story is a sign for those who reflect, a reminder that Allah's power transcends human understanding. The Quran does not provide all the details, leaving room for interpretation and reflection, which has allowed the story to resonate across different cultures and eras. In today's world, where faith is often challenged by skepticism, materialism, and rapid change, the story of the Seven Sleepers holds a special place. It calls on us to remain steadfast in our beliefs, to trust in Allah's plan even when the path seems uncertain, and to remember that true success lies not in worldly gains, but in spiritual resilience. The sleepers' journey from persecution to divine protection serves as a powerful metaphor for anyone facing trials and tribulations. Moreover, it encourages us to look beyond the surface of our daily struggles and to seek deeper meaning in our experiences. Just as the sleepers were preserved through time, our faith too can be preserved and strengthened if we nurture it with sincerity and patience. It challenges us to question the idols of our own time, whether they be greed, pride, or fear, and to turn instead towards the eternal truths that guide us. As we explore the mystery of the cave and the lives of the Seven Sleepers, we will uncover lessons that are as relevant now as they were centuries ago. Their story is not just a historical account, but a living narrative that invites us to reflect on our own faith journey. It reminds us that even in the darkest moments, there is light,
And even in the longest nights, there is the promise of dawn.
So, what exactly happened in that cave? How did the sleepers survive such an extraordinary slumber? And what can we learn from their experience that applies to our lives today? Join me as we delve into the mystery of the seven sleepers, uncovering the historical context, the spiritual significance, and the timeless lessons that continue to inspire believers around the world. Before we begin, take a moment to reflect on your own faith. Have you ever faced a moment when your beliefs were tested? How did you respond? The story of the seven sleepers is a testament to the power of unwavering faith and the miracles that can unfold when we place our trust in Allah. It is a story that challenges us to hold fast to our convictions, no matter the obstacles. The ancient city of Ephesus, where the story of the seven sleepers begins, was a bustling metropolis known for its grandeur, culture, and religious diversity. Located in what is now modern-day Turkey, Ephesus was a center of commerce and worship, famous for the Temple of Artemis, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world. Yet beneath its splendor lay a society deeply entrenched in idol worship and pagan traditions. The rulers and the majority of the population demanded absolute loyalty to their gods, and any deviation was met with harsh punishment. In this environment, the seven sleepers stood out as beacons of monotheism, refusing to bow to the idols that symbolized the power and authority of the ruling class. Their faith was not a mere private matter, but a public declaration that challenged the very foundation of the city's religious and political order. This defiance made them targets of persecution, forcing them to make a life-altering decision, to either renounce their beliefs or face severe consequences. The young men chose the path of faith, a choice that would lead them to seek refuge in a cave outside the city walls. This cave, seemingly ordinary and hidden, would become the stage for one of the most extraordinary events in religious history. The decision to hide in the cave was not just an act of survival, but a profound expression of trust in Allah's protection. They believed that even if the world turned against them, their faith would be their shield. As they entered the cave, the young men prayed for mercy and protection, asking Allah to safeguard them from harm. What followed was a miraculous sleep that lasted for centuries, a divine intervention that preserved their lives and faith through the passage of time. This sleep was not ordinary. It was a suspension of time itself, a pause in the natural order that only Allah could command. The story of the seven sleepers is remarkable not only for the miracle of their prolonged sleep, but also for the way it highlights the themes of patience, perseverance, and divine justice. Their story serves as a reminder that faith is not always easy, and those who remain steadfast may face trials that test their very existence. Yet, through these trials, Allah's mercy and power are revealed. When the sleepers awoke, they found themselves in a world transformed. The city of Ephesus had changed, the idols were gone, and the people had embraced monotheism. Their awakening was a sign of the triumph of faith over oppression, a testament to the enduring power of belief.
The Quran's mention of the seven sleepers in Surah Al-Kahf is brief but profound. It emphasizes that their story is a sign for those who reflect, a lesson in trusting Allah's plan and recognizing His power over all things. The verses invite believers to ponder the mysteries of life and death, the nature of time, and the reality of resurrection. The story encourages us to look beyond the material world and to place our trust in the unseen. In the context of today's world, the story of the seven sleepers resonates deeply. We live in an age of rapid change, uncertainty, and often spiritual confusion. Many face challenges to their faith, whether through societal pressure, personal doubts, or the distractions of modern life. The tale of the sleepers reminds us that faith requires courage and patience, and that divine help is always near for those who remain true. Moreover, the story challenges us to examine the caves in our own lives, those places of refuge where we seek safety from the storms of life. These caves may be physical, emotional, or spiritual. They may be moments of solitude, prayer, or reflection where we reconnect with our faith and find strength. Just as the sleepers were preserved in their cave, our faith can be preserved and renewed when we turn to Allah in sincerity. The seven sleepers also teach us about the importance of community and support in faith. Their story is not just about individual perseverance, but about collective strength. They stood together in their belief, supporting one another through the hardship they faced. In today's fragmented world, this lesson is vital. Faith communities provide a source of encouragement, accountability, and shared purpose that can help individuals withstand trials. Another powerful aspect of the story is the contrast between the sleepers and the society that persecuted them. The rulers of Ephesus represented worldly power, pride, and oppression, while the sleepers embodied humility, faith, and resilience. This contrast invites us to reflect on the values we uphold in our own lives. Are we aligned with the fleeting power of this world, or do we anchor ourselves in the eternal truths of faith? The miraculous nature of the sleeper story also invites us to consider the limits of human understanding. The suspension of time, the divine protection, and the ultimate triumph of faith are realities that transcend logic and reason. They remind us that Allah's power is beyond our comprehension, and that miracles are signs meant to strengthen our belief. As we continue to explore the mystery of the cave and the seven sleepers, we will delve into the details of their lives, the historical context, and the spiritual lessons that emerge from their story. We will examine how their experience relates to the challenges we face today and how we can draw inspiration from their unwavering faith. The seven sleepers were not just anonymous figures lost to history. They were young men of conviction, courage, and unwavering faith. Their identities, while not exhaustively detailed in the Quran, have been preserved through various Islamic traditions and historical accounts, painting a picture of individuals who chose faith over comfort, truth over conformity. These men lived in a time when declaring belief in the one true God was an act of rebellion, a dangerous stance that could cost them everything. Each of the sleepers came from different backgrounds, yet they were united by a common purpose: to uphold the message of monotheism in the face of overwhelming opposition. Their story is a testament to the power of unity and shared conviction. They were not isolated believers, but a community bound by faith, supporting one another through the trials they faced.
Another powerful aspect of the story is the contrast between the sleepers and the society that persecuted them. The rulers of Ephesus represented worldly power, pride, and oppression, while the sleepers embodied humility, faith, and resilience. This contrast invites us to reflect on the values we uphold. Are we aligned with fleeting worldly power, or do we anchor ourselves in eternal truths? The miraculous nature of the sleeper's story invites us to consider the limits of human understanding. The suspension of time, divine protection, and ultimate triumph of faith transcend logic and reason. They remind us that Allah's power is beyond our comprehension and that miracles are signs meant to strengthen belief. As we continue exploring the mystery of the cave and the seven sleepers, we will delve into their lives, historical context, and spiritual lessons. We will examine how their experience relates to today's challenges and how we can draw inspiration from their unwavering faith. When the seven sleepers finally awoke from their miraculous slumber, the world they knew had vanished, replaced by a new reality shaped by faith and transformation. Their awakening was not just a personal miracle, but a profound sign to the people around them, a testament to the power of Allah and the triumph of true belief over oppression and falsehood. The sleepers emerged from their cave to find a society that had undergone a remarkable change. The idols that once dominated the cityscape of Ephesus were gone, replaced by the worship of the one true God. The people had embraced monotheism, a faith that the sleepers had held on to despite persecution. This transformation was a powerful symbol of hope and renewal, showing that even the darkest times can give way to light and truth. The reaction of the people to the sleepers' awakening was of awe and wonder. Here were men who had seemingly defied the natural order, preserved by divine intervention for centuries. Their story spread quickly, inspiring believers and challenging skeptics.
The sleepers became living proof that Allah's power transcends time and human limitations. This moment also marked a turning point in the spiritual history of the region. The story of the seven sleepers became a source of inspiration for those facing trials and persecution. It reminded believers that steadfast faith and patience are rewarded, and that Allah's help is always near. The sleepers' experience was a beacon of hope, encouraging others to hold fast to their beliefs even in the face of adversity. The Quran's brief but powerful mention of the seven sleepers in Surah Al-Kahf serves as a reminder of these lessons. The verses highlight the importance of reflection and trust in Allah's plan. They invite believers to ponder the mysteries of life, death, and resurrection, encouraging a deeper understanding of faith beyond the material world. In today's fast-paced and often uncertain world, the story of the seven sleepers remains profoundly relevant. Many face challenges to their faith, whether through societal pressures, personal doubts, or the distractions of modern life. The tale of the sleepers reminds us that faith requires courage, patience, and trust in divine wisdom. Moreover, the story challenges us to find our own caves, places, or moments of refuge where we can reconnect with our faith and find strength. These caves may be physical spaces, times of prayer, or moments of reflection. Just as the sleepers were preserved in their cave, our faith can be preserved and renewed when we turn sincerely to Allah.
The story also emphasizes the importance of community in sustaining faith. The seven sleepers were not alone. They supported one another through their trials. In today's fragmented world, this lesson is vital. Faith communities provide encouragement, accountability, and shared purpose, helping individuals withstand challenges. The contrast between the sleepers and the society that persecuted them offers a powerful reflection on values. The rulers of Ephesus represented worldly power, pride, and oppression, while the sleepers embodied humility, faith, and resilience. This contrast invites us to examine our own values and align ourselves with eternal truths rather than fleeting worldly power. The miraculous nature of the sleeper's story invites us to acknowledge the limits of human understanding. The suspension of time, divine protection, and ultimate triumph of faith transcend logic and reason. They remind us that Allah's power is beyond our comprehension, and that miracles are signs meant to strengthen belief. As we reflect on the story of the seven sleepers, we are called to consider how their experience relates to our own lives. What challenges do we face in maintaining our faith? How can we find strength in moments of doubt or difficulty? The sleeper story offers guidance and hope, showing that with patience and trust in Allah, we can overcome even the greatest trials. The story of the seven sleepers is not just a tale of miraculous survival. It is a profound lesson in patience, trust, and the enduring nature of faith. Their experience teaches us that true belief is tested through trials, and that divine help often comes in ways beyond our understanding. Patience, or sabr in Arabic, is a central theme in the story of the sleepers. They endured persecution, exile, and a long, unnatural sleep, all without wavering in their faith. This patience was not passive resignation, but an active, steadfast trust in Allah's plan. In today's world, where instant gratification is often expected, the sleepers remind us of the power of enduring hardship with hope and perseverance. Trust in Allah, or tawakkul, is another key lesson. The sleepers placed their complete trust in Allah's protection when they sought refuge in the cave. They surrendered their fate to Him, confident that He would safeguard them. This trust is a model for believers facing uncertainty and fear. It teaches us that while we take necessary actions, ultimate reliance should be on Allah alone. The sleeper story also highlights the eternal nature of faith. While the world around them changed dramatically, their belief remained constant. This constancy is a reminder that faith is not tied to time or circumstance, but is a timeless connection between the believer and the Creator. It encourages us to cultivate a faith that endures beyond the fleeting challenges of life, Their miraculous sleep and awakening symbolize the concept of resurrection and the afterlife, central tenets in Islamic belief. The suspension of time in the cave serves as a metaphor for the life after death, where the soul awakens to a new reality. This symbolism invites believers to reflect on their own mortality and the importance of preparing for the afterlife through righteous living. The story also teaches humility. Despite their miraculous experience, the sleepers remained humble servants of Allah. Their faith was not about seeking fame or recognition, but about sincere devotion. This humility is a vital quality for believers, reminding us to focus on our relationship with Allah rather than worldly accolades. In addition, the story encourages reflection on the nature of miracles. Miracles are signs from Allah meant to strengthen faith, not to satisfy curiosity or prove divine power to skeptics. The sleeper story invites believers to see miracles as reminders of Allah's presence and mercy, inspiring deeper trust and gratitude.
The seven sleepers experience also challenges us to examine the idols in our own lives. While the rulers of Ephesus demanded worship of physical idols, today's idols may be materialism, pride, or other distractions that pull us away from true faith. The story calls us to identify and reject these modern idols, turning instead to the eternal truths of Islam. Furthermore, the story emphasizes the importance of community in faith. The sleepers supported one another through their trials, demonstrating that faith is strengthened through collective perseverance. In today's world, where individualism often prevails, this lesson reminds us to seek and nurture supportive faith communities. The story's enduring appeal across cultures and religions speaks to its universal themes of hope, resilience, and divine mercy. It transcends boundaries, inviting all who hear it to reflect on their own faith journey and the power of trust in the unseen. As we consider what the story of the seven sleepers means for us today, we are called to embody the qualities they exemplified: patience in hardship, trust in Allah, humility in success, and steadfastness in faith. Their story is a timeless guide for navigating the challenges of life with grace and conviction. The story of the seven sleepers offers us not only inspiration, but also practical guidance on how to live a life grounded in faith, patience, and trust in Allah. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions abound and challenges to belief are frequent, their example is more relevant than ever. First, patience is a virtue that we must actively cultivate. The sleepers endured unimaginable trials, persecution, exile, and a sleep lasting centuries, yet they remained steadfast. In our own lives, patience means enduring hardships without losing hope or faith. It means resisting the urge to give up when faced with difficulties, whether they be personal struggles, societal pressures, or spiritual doubts. Patience is not passive. It is an active, courageous stance that requires strength and trust in Allah's wisdom. Second, trust in Allah, or tawakkul, is essential. The sleepers placed their complete trust in Allah's protection when they sought refuge in the cave. This trust was not blind, but rooted in knowledge of Allah's mercy and power. For us, tawakkul means doing our best in every situation while leaving the outcome in Allah's hands. It is a balance between effort and surrender, action and reliance. When we trust Allah fully, we find peace even amid uncertainty. Third, humility is a key lesson from the sleepers' story. Despite their miraculous experience, they remained humble servants of Allah. They did not seek fame or recognition, but were devoted to their faith. Humility keeps us grounded, reminding us that all blessings come from Allah and that our purpose is to serve Him sincerely. It protects us from arrogance and pride, which can distance us from true faith.
Fourth, the story challenges us to identify and reject the idols in our own lives. While the rulers of Ephesus demanded worship of physical idols,
Today's idols may be materialism, status, or other distractions that pull us away from Allah. Recognizing these modern idols requires self-reflection and honesty. Once identified, we must consciously turn away from them and refocus on the eternal truths of Islam. Fifth, community plays a vital role in sustaining faith. The sleepers supported one another through their trials, showing that faith is strengthened through collective perseverance. In our fragmented world, building and nurturing supportive faith communities is crucial. These communities provide encouragement, accountability, and shared purpose, helping individuals withstand challenges and grow spiritually. Sixth, the story invites us to reflect on the nature of miracles and divine signs. Miracles are not just extraordinary events, but reminders of Allah's presence and mercy. They strengthen our belief and inspire gratitude. Recognizing the miracles in our own lives, big or small, can deepen our connection with Allah and renew our faith. Seventh, the story encourages us to find our own caves, places, or moments of refuge where we can reconnect with our faith and find strength. These caves may be physical spaces, times of prayer, or moments of reflection. In a world full of noise and distraction, carving out these sacred spaces is essential for spiritual renewal. Finally, the story of the seven sleepers reminds us of the eternal nature of faith. While the world changes, true belief remains constant. This constancy calls us to cultivate a faith that endures beyond the fleeting challenges of life, anchoring us in the hope of the hereafter. As we conclude this journey into the mystery of the cave and the story of the seven sleepers, let us carry their lessons in our hearts. Let us be patient in hardship, trust in Allah's plan, remain humble, reject the idols of our time, build strong communities, recognize divine signs, seek spiritual refuge, and nurture enduring faith. Their story is not just a tale from the past, but a living guide for our lives today. It challenges us to live with courage, resilience, and hope, knowing that Allah's mercy and power are always near. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the mystery of the cave and the story of the seven sleepers. May the story of the seven sleepers inspire and strengthen your faith, guiding you through life's challenges with patience and trust.